guys, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a single white female from Rochester in Kent. Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 8:05 p.m.
Right guys, if you like my videos, please press the like button. Please do subscribe and good evening. Right, so we'll just go through what has happened since I had the wimpy. Right guys, so I ordered a wimpy before I went out at lunchtime this afternoon because I checked my bank balance and I thought, well, I might not be going up to see my mum this week, so I will order a takeaway. So that is exactly what I did. I haven't got the Deliveroo app or the Uber Eats app, but I went online and I thought I'd treat myself to a takeaway. So I signed up for Deliveroo with my email address and my password, and that's exactly what I did. I ordered from Burger King. So I ordered from Burger King. That's what I did. Very, very quick service. A foreign chap in a helmet rang my buzzer number 5. He rang my buzzer, and I'd already paid for the takeaway, unlike months back when someone was ordering takeaways fraudulently in mine and my mother's name. I ordered the takeaway for myself and I had no problems because it was paid for with my bank card. So I had a takeaway, brought it upstairs. He had a bicycle helmet over his head, of course he did. I'd been watching London Eats. I'd been watching London Eats on YouTube before this guy came and rang my buzzer. So obviously guys wear helmets for protection on a motorcycle, don't they? Of course they do. So he went off. Like I said, the takeaway was already paid for. I came back upstairs. I'd had a really delicious burger. I ate it. I had the ice cream and I drank the Coca-Cola, and then I carried on watching a YouTube video until it was time to go out at lunchtime. I didn't record anything at lunchtime because the field was busy. There was the Derek lookalike with the boxer type dog, brown and white, on the field. He didn't have his raincoat on because it was sunny. There was a guy with curly hair, a man in a striped jumper like the t-shirt I was wearing yesterday, and he was talking on loudspeaker because I normally speak to my mum, don't I, on loudspeaker. So he was talking on loudspeaker, and there was a guy dressed in gym clothes like my son. I don't wear gym clothes. I don't go to the gym. My son, well, I don't know where my son is at the moment. I know the one is in Scotland. Right, so let's go through. I came back at lunchtime. I hadn't really spoken to anybody. I don't want to speak to anyone on the phone because it annoys me and it hurts my face. So I've been really quite quiet in this flat. I haven't been reading out loud books. I've just been watching London Eats and YouTube videos on my Alexa. That's all I've been doing. So I haven't even been playing any music today. I'm usually playing music, but I haven't. I've just been quiet, sat on my chair and just being quiet and watching the telly. Because I'm a normal person, and that's what normal people do when they're on their own. They keep quiet, watch the telly, listen to the radio, read a book, do a crossword, whatever if you're on your own. I'm not going to have a conversation with the wall, am I? Because I live by myself, right? So I made myself cups of coffee. I watched various YouTube videos. And of course my mum rang at 5. I didn't answer it because I didn't want a headache. And then I've just come back from walking Max. It's 8:10 now. So I'm going to settle down for the evening by myself. Because I live by myself. And I have done for some time now. So now we're going to go on to what happened when I went out just now. Right? Around 10 to 7, I took Max out of my flats, round the back and up Common Creek Wharf like I usually do, round the back of the flats, and it was fairly quiet. People walking dogs coming off the field, a lot of men wearing baseball caps. I was a woman wearing my Manchester United baseball cap. I got to around the corner of the field and there was a loud ring of laughter and I could smell drugs, weed. So I held my nose, put my hand over my nose and my mouth and I walked on, but it still got into my eyes and they were stinging, and I actually walked around the field with one of my eyes nearly half closed. Like I said, as long as people can do what they want, as long as they don't involve me in it. I don't smoke weed, I don't smoke at all, and I don't drink, only socially. So I was walking around the field a bit numb in the fingers and my eye was stinging. My right eye was stinging quite badly. I didn't phone anybody, I just carried on. One of these days I'm just going to fall over. Carried on walking, there was people up the path, people over the field, people everywhere. And I just wanted to walk Max. He gets agitated if there's loads of people. He starts to bark and he starts to get all defensive. So I was trying to look after Max when I didn't feel too steady on my feet. And I was actually frightened of losing him at one point because I couldn't feel my fingers on my right hand. Just makes me go numb. I don't know why. Cannabis just makes me go numb in the fingers. I've got a clue why, and my eyes sting. So I managed to go around the field without falling over, toppling over, and I walked around the field and I came off. I had a wimpy today. There was wrappers of hot dogs, there was wrappers of food everywhere, but I'd eaten. Because you know when it's like when you're hungry, right, and you see wrappers of food, wrappers of toffee crisp, and you smell food, it can annoy you and upset you, but I had actually had a takeaway today. So all these wrappers didn't upset me that was on the floor. I mean, I've lived in a woman's safe house, and I was very, very poor, and I was starving hungry. And when I go back to those years when I was actually homeless and I was starving, it upsets me. And that's what it reminds me of. You know, living in a house with no money, because it was safe house accommodation, like private landlord, charity, run by a charity, and I had no money and everything, and I could smell the ladies next door's cooking. And it used to make me feel nauseous because when you are hungry and you've got no food, the smell of food can actually make you feel sick, as well as being upset and everything else. I was in a terrible state. I was shrinking down to a size 8 because I couldn't eat. I had no money. I don't like to be reminded of those times, but it's times like that that makes you think, I'm not going fucking back to that life again. Whatever goes on, you know what I mean? So I've come back into my flat. Something's bitten me. Some midge on the field has bitten me. So I've put some Germaline on it. I've been bitten and I've inhaled cannabis. And I'm feeling pretty fed up. that the same things keep repeating themselves and I'm not really getting anywhere. I've actually deleted Flirt Finder. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. Somebody just wants to flash on WhatsApp. They've probably got a girlfriend or they're married or there's some insane reason why they can't meet me. Perhaps they're far away in another country. I haven't got a clue, but I don't want to play on WhatsApp. I don't want to play on WhatsApp. I don't want to see your bits on WhatsApp, thank you. I'm a bit old for that. Watching, you know what I mean? So I was coming back off the field. I had my camera for safety reasons, and I just walked back to my flat. I'm home. Obviously the cannabis has stung my eye, but I'm okay. I look after myself. There's no one to turn to. My mother's elderly. What can she do? What can she do? And now let's listen to my mother's answer phone message after I'd gone into the cannabis. She phoned me at 5:20 before I went into the cannabis, and then she's phoned me afterwards.
Welcome to your EE voicemail. You have 2 new messages and 2 saved messages. First new message. Received today at 5:19 p.m. Message deleted. Next new message. Received today at 8:05 p.m. Good evening, Janetta. Giving you the last nighttime call tonight. Wishing you good night. God bless. And I'll phone you tomorrow. Good night, Janetta. To listen to the message again.
That's all I get. She starts the phone call with, she's my mum. My son. I have 4 children. My mum had 3 children and 2 are dead. I've got 4 children. And my sons have got their own lives. They live away from me. I don't control my children. I don't ring up my children. I don't ring up my children and keep on. They're adults. I don't keep ringing my daughter and my son and my other son. I don't keep ringing them. They're adults. So it's not. I'm a daughter, and my mum is ringing me. I don't ring my sons. I don't pester my sons. I let them get on with their lives. I don't pester my sons 4 times a day. Where are you? What are you doing? They're grown up. If they want me, they know where I live. They can come down and knock on the door, ring the buzzer. But you've got to let your children go. Otherwise, you suffocate them and you stifle them, and they won't grow up properly, will they? I don't know what this is, but it just is ridiculous. It's stupid. And when a taxi driver actually in a taxi says to me that your mother needs to let you go, other people are noticing it. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Good evening, Natasha. Yeah, I think the early adage I'd offer to Rachel Reeves is she's identified several failures in the Tory crisis, but she seems to be proposing Tory policies to solve it. Now, I don't really see how you can solve a Tory crisis with Tory policies, and that's what we've got. Rachel Reeves is an old-style, neoliberal Bank of England banker. She's much in favour of privatisation, that is West Streeting. She has very little interest in redistribution, they've made that very clear. And after the Second World War, I was born very few years after the Second World War. I won't disclose my age at this point. But they rebuilt this country out of nothing. We are post-COVID, right? We're post-COVID, we're post-austerity. We've got a country that everyone recognises is falling to bits. Its services are falling to bits because of failure of investment. We've had the rich taking the money out of the country. We've had the Tories removing it on behalf of the rich. And don't tell me we can't do something equal to what we did after 1945, because I do not believe you. I believe that if you have policies which involve rebuilding the economy, rebuilding the services, rebuilding the railways, rebuilding the housing and all those things, you can generate income. Italy is doing it as we speak. And what is more, we have all, as your previous guest said, we've got billions in profits in the banks, in the water, in the energy, in the railways. That profit has not been touched, and they said they're not going to have a wealth tax. Well, of course, if you don't get the money out of wealth, not income, because she doesn't make the distinction between wealth and income, the wealth is where the money is. That's what you go for.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, that programme of Corbyn and McDonnell was nothing more than a social democratic programme. It was not a left-wing socialist programme. It was no more left-wing than Attlee was offering. It was no more left-wing, actually, if you analyse Wilson's 1966 programme, it was less left-wing than Wilson, to be honest, and that's saying something. So if we're going to have trickle-down economics, I'll tell you where we all end up, Natasha. We end up under the horse, because that's what the great John Kenneth Galbraith said. If you want trickle-down economics, you end up under the horse, because they don't, as your guest said, trickle up. And we have got to take the initiative. We've got to say, we've got to reject this notion that it's common sense. It's not common sense. Common sense is not to repeat what the Tories have done and call it Labour policy, and that is what is happening at the moment.
Phil, that was great. That was really great. I just listened to you speak there, and you just put things so clearly. Thank you so much for picking up the phone. What struck me as you were talking is that the Overton window has moved so far to the right that, as you say, a fairly progressive social democratic manifesto like what Corbyn put forward, and I want to try and leave aside the issue specifically with Jeremy Corbyn, if possible, and just look purely at the manifesto and the policies that were being pledged. It was fully costed, and there wasn't much that was wrong with it from where I'm sitting. But the fact that it could be presented as, almost communist, the way that it was being spoken about in the right-wing media, I think speaks to how far the Overton window moved right post-Brexit. And I think in light of that, maybe Labour have made a calculation that they need to move with it in order to win over voters. But I'm looking at the tone of the correspondence that's coming into the studio and how many people who have voted Labour or would vote Labour who are despairing of these announcements. And I wonder if it is a risk worth them taking, because they may very well gain one or two floating voters, but at what cost? What do you think of the calculation that they're making? 03456060973 is the number to call. Elliot has called from Goffs Oak. What would you like to say?
Right, guys. The worst time of the day for me is the evening, because you're on your own with the thoughts in your head, right? I've done nothing wrong. I've tried to meet someone, I've tried to be happy. I've got a mother that is ringing me 3 or 4 times a day. If I take anyone to see my mother, they get put off because of her attitude. I'm not saying she wrecked my marriage, but she was calling me all the time whilst I was married. And it was noticeable that I got upset after her phone calls. So I have a controlling mother. I can't breathe. I don't feel that I'm allowed to develop properly at the age I am now. without having to report back to my mother. And I, as far as I know, I control my finances and my life, because I haven't allowed anybody to take control of me or my finances. On several occasions when my dad was alive, my mother has said, well, I've allowed you to do this and I've allowed you to do that. I've given you a bit of freedom, right? The only thing that I can possibly do is to move so far away that I can't be harassed. And that's going to mean either another country or halfway across the United Kingdom. And I thought Gloucestershire was a long way away. But that wasn't far enough, was it? And look what mess happened in Gloucestershire through someone's interference. I'm an adult. I haven't signed up for a comedy or a drama or to have my life invaded. Do you know what it feels like every night? It can be quite horrible and lonely at times. When you've had a day where people have taken the fucking piss out of you and your mother's kept going on the phone to try and make you angry, and that's all you've got every day. It's fucking horrible. That's horrible. Being treated like a 2-year-old. Now, I'm not answering the phone calls, and I won't be going up to see my mother this week, because, you know, I need to breathe. And when I do go up to see my mother, right, it's like I'm being I don't know what I go up there for. Because she lies back with her mouth wide open as though she looks like she's dead. Or she's bored to fuck. So I don't see the point. Right. Have a good evening, everyone. And I sympathise with people living by themselves that want company but can't find the right company. And I'll see you later.